in the game for 1K, and there's actually someone that looks pretty familiar to my right. Rampage Poker, aka Ethan, is at the same table with us, and we're going to be able to mix it up with him. He's in town for the WPT event. He probably doesn't need a formal introduction, but if you guys haven't already, check out his channel. He makes great poker content as well. So the first hand we get involved in is 9-8 of hearts, and there's a button straddle. We're in the big blind, definitely want to be trying to steal the blinds, but if we get called, the hand flops pretty well regardless. Sure enough, the button calls, and we're going heads up to a flop. The flop doesn't look too nice. All we really have is a gutter, and that's about it. But with an ace high board, it definitely favors our range, so we need to put in a bet because 9 high probably isn't good. I bet $25. No need to size up because any ace or any flush draw is calling regardless, and sure enough, it looks like he might have one of those as he makes the call. Poker is a pretty easy game when you can drill gutters on the turn. It is a offsuit 7, so we're sitting with the nuts, and now we don't have to bluff anymore. We can go for some value. With $120 in the pot, I looked on a sizing of $75, charging any ace, charging any flush draw, and sure enough, he makes the call once again. So, praying to see a clean river, which looks pretty promising. It is a jack. The backdoor flush draw did come in, but now we're losing to any flush or king queen. I don't really think that's a real possibility unless he might have like king queen of diamonds, but I'd imagine he'd be raising that on the button regardless. I think a bet or check is around 50-50. If he has a flush draw, I could check and let him bluff into me, but if he has an ace, I'm pretty sure he's going to call any bet regardless. I like to just go for some value, and I bet out 215, and he quickly makes the call, which is great news. If he didn't raise, we know that we're always good, and that is the case as he throws his cards into the muck. So within the first orbit, first hand, we scoop almost a $700 pot. $350 coming our way in profit, and I owe one to Milton as he spiked me that 7. In this next hand, we're in the small blind, and we look down at Jack 10 of hearts. One of my favorite hands to play. There's an under the gun straddle, under the gun, and +1 make the call. And now let's try to narrow out the field. I size up to $75 out of position, preying on some folds, but if we get a call, the hand flops pretty well regardless. The big blind actually elects on a call, and all the limpers fold. So definitely was not the desired outcome, but at least we did narrow out the field somewhat. Praying to see a pretty good board, which looks promising. Jack high. I'd imagine we have the best hand almost 100% of the time heads up. I still think a bet is in order because obviously I want to get value, but 2, I'd be doing this with all my bluffs as well. But it looks like he thinks better of the situation and folds his cards. So happy to scoop a little pot going into this next hand. In this next hand, there's a button straddle, and we do see a call from the big blind. And then also, the under the gun puts in some more money. He raises it up to $40. He's been one of the more active players at the table. And then to my right, Rampage, Alexa, 40 is not enough. He sizes up to $120. I haven't gotten involved in a pot with him thus far. And at the same time, I'd definitely say that the 2 players to my right are by far the most active at the table. So if I put in a 4-bet with a hand that you do not know already, it's going to look extremely strong. I have around $1,600 behind, and Rampage has me covered, so we are very deep. We block kings, we block ace king, and that's really about it. So I think I probably could have picked a better spot to do this. And action does in fact fold back around to Rampage. Praying for some folds, hoping he just gets out of here, but no. He slides in 2 big towers of green chips, which accumulates to $1,000, and I just laugh and toss my cards into the muck. So Ethan, there's your plane ticket on the way over here. Hope you appreciate it, and I'm sure I might be able to get some of that back in the near future. At the table, he told me he had ace king, and then in the vlog that he made, it is confirmed that he did in fact have ace king, so that hand does make a lot of sense. Alright guys, I just want to talk about Rad Poker real quick. Rad Poker is a fast-paced heads-up, no-limit app that essentially strengthens your heads-up play in the casino, but online as well. They got a lot of cool updates coming in the near future, so definitely go check them out. If you're ever in a game with me, holler at me on Instagram or whatever. Always happy to play with you guys. You can either download it by searching Rad Poker in the App Store or just clicking the link in the bio. Happy to see y'all all on the app, and let's get on with this next hand. Bit of a punt in the last one. Hopefully we can get some of that back with ace 10 offsuit on the button. The low jack opens up the action of $20 and the high jack calls. I raise it up to $100 because I want to be narrowing out the field, and ace 10 doesn't play that well multi-way, especially not being suited. Well, that plan worked horribly because both the players do in fact make the call. hoping to see a good board, which isn't the case whatsoever. It is king, deuce, 5 with 2 spades. We don't have much going for us besides ace high, backdoor straight draw maybe, backdoor trips draw, but action does check to me. Ace high I think might have a decent amount of showdown, so I just check it and we're off to see a turn. The turn is a ace of spades, so now we have top pair, but the most obvious draw did come in. It checks the hijack, in which he bets $5. You heard that right, only $5. We have top pair, so I don't think we can fold for 5, but at the same time, I don't think we could raise for value because we have the worst ace we'd ever have here. So I just make the call, and the low jack is getting a stupid price, and he makes the call as well. So not really knowing what we need to fade. Supposedly a spade would be nice, and that is what happens. We do fade a spade, the river's a 4. So now there's a 4-liner to the straight, and I'd imagine a lot of these players would be sizing up with any flush draw on the turn. The low jack checks, and the hijack now bombs it for almost a pot-sized bet of $280. So obviously a pretty disgusting spot. The thing that's odd about this hand is that after only calling the $5 bet on the turn, I do appear pretty weak. I'm capped at probably 1 pair at best, and I think this player is capable enough of realizing that. I don't have the ace of spades, so he could easily have a busted flush draw. Also worth noting, I don't think he ever has a 3 here. So, I don't know. I just elect on a call, maybe a bit loose, and then the low jack player elects on a fold. And it looks like that $5 bet makes a lot of sense now as he shows pocket 3s. So, don't really know about this one. You guys let me know what you think. In retrospect, obviously, a fold on the river is ideal. But at the time, I don't know. Let me know what y'all think about that one in the comments. In this next hand, there's a button straddle, and we look down at aces. Oh my gosh, the dream scenario is coming true. Small blind and big blind elect to call, and the under the gun raises to $60. Rampage to my right is not done putting in any money. He bets out $200. When action's now on me, I elect on a smooth call. All the other players fold, and now we are going heads up to a flop in position. Hoping to see some low cards, which looks pretty promising as the flop comes down queen 5-6 rainbow. So there's a flush draw on board, and it's queen high, so we have an overpair in which we do not block the flush draw. Rampage C bets $150. At this point, our hand is obviously severely under-repped, and I think a raise could be in order. We can deny equity from any flush draws, but at the same time, from Rampage's perspective, say he has a hand like ace-king, king-queen, I could be doing this line with all my flush draws as well. So I like to raise it up to $400. Basically denying equity from any hearts, but we're also denying equity from a hand such as like ace-queen or king-queen suited. But there is only one combo of ace-queen suited left, ace-queen of clubs. Rampage does in fact make the call. So now we have around $850 behind with a pot of $1,300. The turn is a king of diamonds. So now we are losing to a hand such as king-queen. There is another flush draw on board, but I'm not too worried about that. At this point, with this specific card, I'm probably trying to get a cheap showdown, but it looks like Ethan thinks otherwise. Looks like he likes this card a decent amount. He does like a little blocker bet of $350. If I make this call, I only have $500 behind, so basically I'm going to be pot committed, maybe unless a heart peels, but if no heart comes, I'm definitely probably just going to have to go with this one. We're losing to kings and queens, which is also worth noting, but I think if it comes to that, I think I might just have to chalk it up as a cooler. With that being said, I think our hand still is maybe a bit strong to fold, hoping to fade a heart, so I like to just make the call. And we're hoping maybe the river can go check if we're lucky. The river is an 8, so it doesn't change too much. Hands such as like 7-9 gets there, but that's obviously not a possibility whatsoever. Hoping to go check like previously mentioned, but Rampage puts me to the test. He bets out my whole stack. We have to risk $500 to win a pot of $2,500, so the odds are certainly pretty nice. At this point, I don't think he would be valuing a queen to this extent. I guess he could have a hand such as ace, king of hearts. After deciding, the only hands I lose to are queens and kings. So I like to make the call, and he does have one of those hands. he shows pocket queens. So I show him the aces for his vlog, and Ethan gets the best of us. Prior to this hand, I only gifted him around a plane ticket's worth of chips, but now that number has accumulated. Maybe now he can stay at like a resort, maybe even buy like a private jet, who knows. Regardless, nice hand, and hopefully we can get some of those chips back from his monstrous chip stack. He's sitting with around like 3K, so dude's absolutely killing it. We're stuck around $1,300, so hoping that we can crawl out of this hole with this hand coming up. There's a button straddle. The under the gun player raises it up to $30. I look down at ace king offsuit. The small blind player has been pretty active, and ace king obviously is a pretty good hand. So let's go ahead and put in that raise to $110. It folds back around to the small blind, in which I expected. He doesn't think for around 10 seconds and decides all of his chips are going in the middle. All 1,000 of them. Well, he has more than 1,000, but he has me covered. So I'm literally sitting there like, what in the world is going on? Because this is obviously a massive raise. I go into the tank for around 2 minutes. I don't think aces or kings would ever take this line. Queens and jacks and tens could take this line. If he has a hand such as ace queen, I think it also could take this line. So with all things considered, I don't think we could ever be in that bad of shape. So maybe a bit loose. I don't know. I elect to make the call for $1,000. So a massive raise, and all the chips are going in once again, leaving us with $0 behind. We elect to run it twice until we notice we have the same exact hand. Already anticipating a chop, but that thought goes out the window when there is 2 clubs on the flop. The turn is a queen of clubs. So now we are free rolling, and if we get a club, we scoop a massive pot. But unfortunately, the river is a 5. So a bit of a sweat there, almost sucked out in the most disgusting way. Nothing like risking $1,000 to win back $5. In this last hand of the night, we're in the small blind, and we look down at Jack 10 offsuit. There's an under the gun limp, and Rampage bumps it up to $25. Being on the button, I think he could be doing this pretty light, so I 3-bet to $75. If he calls, the hand does play pretty well, but it does fold back around to him, and he puts in that old-fashioned 4-bet to the tune of $200. Not a big raise by any means. So with that being said, I actually elect to peel one. Probably maybe a bit loose out of position, but I'm around $800 behind, so if I hit something, hopefully I can get paid. Well, we did hit something. We hit bottom 2 pair on a pretty wet and connected board. I check it over to him, and he checks it back, which is unfortunate. I think he could be doing this with a lot of ace-x that's just trying to pot control. With that being said, I'm pretty confident I have the best hand all day long. The turn is a offsuit 8. So 9-10 gets there, but I know Ethan would be betting all of his draws on the flop. So definitely want to be going for some value, targeting any ace-x. So I bet out $160, and Ethan doesn't think for too long and does eventually elect on a call. Hope to see a clean river, preferably no ace, queen, or king, or club, and our wishes are granted as the river is a 7. So any 9 now gets there, but as previously mentioned, I don't think he ever has a 9 here. The only possible hand he could have is like 8-9 suited, but I really don't think that's a concern. I think more times than not, he is going to just have an ace here. So what sizing can I do to get paid by an ace? Having the 10 of clubs is nice because we block a lot of the Broadway club draws that we could very likely be having. So I bet a little bit less than a half pot size bet. I threw out $350, obviously praying on a call, but it looks like that is not the case as he does think better of the situation and lets his cards go. He told me that he did have an ace, and then if you look at his vlog, you also can be confirmed that he had an ace there. So maybe got a little bit greedy on the river, but regardless, happy to take down the last pot of the night. So we at least win 1 pot against Ethan, and we don't totally get absolutely owned by him, even though I think we were pretty freaking close. As you guys saw, there was a familiar face at the table. Ethan Yao, also known as Rampage Poker. If you guys watch me, you guys most likely are familiar with him as well. If not, go check out his channel. Post a lot of good poker content, very consistent, and super cool dude, even cooler in person. Anyways, yeah, Ethan definitely got the best of us tonight. He essentially just got a free trip down here to Florida, paid by yours truly. So I had a lot of fun playing with him. A bunch of spots that, just simply didn't go our way, such as aces versus queens. I tried to slow play it, but Ethan, he binks the set. So he takes that one down. That was really the most eventful hand of the night. Nothing too much other to report. We were playing shorthanded a lot of the night. But yeah, we were in the game for 2,500 and we cashed out for 1,175. So we lost $1,325. So yeah, after this session and last session, we're on a slight downtrend after winning around 33 sessions in a row. So can't complain too much, but all right, y'all, that's all from me. I appreciate you for tuning in as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.